Hello, Eastern, and welcome to this spooky edition of ETV News on October 30th. I'm Connor O'Malley.
And I'm Imani Futrell. Thank you so much for joining us.
Health science researchers at Eastern Connecticut State University analyzed the biomechanics of the baseball pitch this past weekend, using pitchers from Eastern's very own baseball team as study subjects. The study was led by health science professor Paul Canavan, visiting biomechanical engineer Nicholas Yang, and Eastern students Christina Goslin and Ashley Kennison. Using high-speed cameras, a radar gun, and a motion capture suit worn by the study subjects, researchers were able to analyze the minute movements that happen during a baseball pitch. This study provided an opportunity for undergraduates in Eastern's health science program to participate in practical research.
Mitchell Doucette, an assistant professor in health sciences at Eastern Connecticut State University, was a part of a research team recognized by the American Journal of Public Health for having one of the best papers of 2018. Doucette's research study was selected for the Journal Editor's Choice Awards. His research explored the factors that influence firearm storage among gun owners. The American Journal of Public Health is dedicated to the publication of original work in research methods, and program evaluation in the field of public health. The December 2018 issue will include a column about the winning publications, which will feature Doucette and his innovative research.
The National Academic Advising Association recently presented this certificate of merit for being an outstanding academic advisor in a faculty role to Anita Lee, professor of health sciences at Eastern Connecticut State University. She is active in promoting student success in numerous capacities on campus. In addition to her teaching and faculty responsibilities, she has served as special assistant to the Dean of the School of Education and Professional Studies and co-established the Student Excellence and Persistence System to promote student success. NACADA was chartered as a nonprofit organization in 1979 to promote quality academic advising and professional development of its membership to ensure the educational development of students. It has grown to more than 10,000 members, consisting of faculty members, professional advisors, administrators, counselors, and others in academics and student affairs concerned with the intellectual, personal, and vocational needs of students.
Eastern Connecticut State University is one of the most environmentally responsible colleges of 2018, according to the Princeton Review. Eastern is listed in the review's recent edition of Guide to 399 Green Colleges, published on October 16. This is the 9th year in a row that Eastern has made the list. Schools were selected based on a survey that measured more than 25 data points related to sustainability practices and policies. Eastern, home to many environmental-friendly buildings, including the recently reopened Communications Building, which now meets high-performance building standards set by the state of Connecticut. Such standards include utilizing recyclable materials for a portion of the construction, as well as materials sourced within 500 miles of the work site. Other improvements have been made around campus in the area of water and energy conservation. The green theme housing community here at Eastern, located in Nutmeg Hall, allows environmentally minded students to live together and participate in activities related to going green and sustainability.
With Halloween just around the corner, ETV News reporter Cameron Schultz traveled to the Student Center to ask people what their plans are for this annual holiday.
Hello, I'm Cameron Schultz, and with spooky season upon us, I came to the Student Center to see if students are excited about Halloween. Are you dressing up for Halloween?
Yes, I am.
What are you going to be?
I still don't know, but I am going to dress up.
Okay.
I'm going to be a Mormon from the Book of Mormon, just like sing at people's doorsteps and say, hello, my name is, and just try to get my brother candy.
An elephant.
A vampire, but not just a vampire, a noble vampire. It's like a high-class vampire.
What's your favorite Halloween tradition?
Apple cider from the cider mill back in my hometown. We decorate our house and carve pumpkin and bake the pumpkin seeds.
Well, I guess I like to carve jack-o'-lanterns with my dad.
Staying up all night on Devil's Nights and trying to catch the kids who TP my streets.
Toss up between dressing up and trick-or-treating.
Every year, my family would just carve pumpkins, do a different design every year.
What's your favorite movie to watch around Halloween?
Ooh, my favorite movie would have to be, can't remember Jeepers Creepers.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Coraline. I love Coraline.
Definitely Nightmare Before Christmas.
Probably gonna have to be Halloween Town.
As you can see, students are in the Halloween spirit with all their traditions, costumes, and movies. For ETV News, I'm Cameron Schultz.
Thanks, Cam. Aspiring college students and their families are invited to Eastern on October 28th for FAFSA Day from 1 to 4 p.m. in Webb Halls, room 410. FAFSA Day is a free service offered by Eastern's Financial Aid Office and is open to prospective and current students. Students and families can also obtain information about these programs at www.easternct.edu/finaid.
On October 31st at 3 p.m. in the Student Center's Betty Tipton Room, internationally acclaimed author and activist Winona LaDuke will lead a talk titled A Native Perspective, Sustaining Our Land, Recovering the Sacred. Her talk will explore how indigenous understandings of land, religion, and sacredness influence strategies for a sustainable environment. LaDuke is the executive director of Honor the Earth, a nonprofit organization that raises awareness and financial support for indigenous environmental justice. The organization recently played an active role in the Dakota Access Pipeline protests. This event is free and open to the public.
Eastern's annual E-Club Hall of Fame induction ceremony took place this past weekend. ETV News reporter Kyle Smith takes us to the Betty Tipton Room to capture this meaning of this ceremony.
Here in the Betty Tipton Room, we have students, athletes, and coaches meeting for this year's E-Club Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
To kick off our 25th induction ceremony.
In attendance, there were 5 inductees, their guests, current athlete representatives, and former Hall of Fame inductees. Both coaches and athletes are eligible to be inducted. However, this year's ceremony consisted of athletes only.
To be chosen, you need to get 80% of the vote of the committee, and there's anywhere from 10 to 12 people on the committee.
Of the inductees, Sarah Barber has been the most dominant distant freestyler in the 22-year history of the Eastern's women's swimming program, and finds this moment to be...
It's one of the best feelings ever. Like, I wasn't expecting this anytime soon. I was expecting a couple years down the road, so I got that call from Smitty, and it was super excitement.
Some of her most notable achievements would include 8 New England Intercollegiate Swimming and Diving Association championships and 5 total Little East Conference championships.
Just dedication, hard work, you put in the effort, and however much effort you put into it is what you get out of it. So I still hold a pool record up at Bentley College, so that's still near and dear to me, so that's awesome. And then winning the K. Frommer Award my senior year.
Stephanie Altman, inducted for women's lacrosse, started all 62 possible matches in her career and was the first women's lacrosse player to score over 200 career goals. In her acceptance speech, Stephanie went on to say,
"That is what sports offers to athletes, a sense of belonging, a sense of camaraderie, and it can create lasting, enduring friendships that go beyond the field."
Jennifer Butts, an all-New England athlete in 2 distinctively different sports, was dominant in both volleyball and track. She received recognition for her hard work as a right-side hitter and as a shot-put thrower in both indoor and outdoor field events.
Then I came here and learned what the hammer was, and then I learned what the indoor throw was, and I fell in love. The other people I need to thank are Michelle Cunningham, Sweet, Ellie, my teammates that are here. I could not even remotely come close to any accomplishments without them.
In recognition for his amazing run in the 1998 playoffs, Scott Serwinski was well-deserved of being inducted into the Hall of Fame. During that 3-week span, Scott won 4 games, posting a 2.17 ERA in 29 innings, giving up only 3 base hits.
When you play at this level and play in a program like this and have the ability to play together for one season, we made a ton of memories, and it's something that I'll always cherish. So I'm grateful to Eastern for helping that come true.
Scott sealed the Warriors' 3rd national championship with 7 shutout innings in a 16-1 rout of Montclair State in the national championship game.
It's kind of a reward for obviously not only a good career, but a lot of effort, time. You know, I got to play in a great program here. I got to play for a great coach. So it just means a lot to be included in that group.
The final inductee, Edwin Ortiz, had a massive impact on Eastern's men's basketball program. From a wing guard to a point guard in his senior season, Ortiz never missed a game his entire collegiate career, averaging 13 points a game.
Thank you guys very much, the club, the committee, for even, giving me this honor here.
But in the end, each speech had a common theme to close the night.
I want to thank my family.
My parents, Brian and Laura, no matter what I wanted to do, they supported me.
And the head chair of the Hall of Fame, Scott Smith, thinks.
We feel that the bar for the Eastern Hall of Fame is pretty high, and we want to keep it there.
Every year, the induction ceremony proves to be a pivotal moment for the individuals of the Eastern athletic community. For ETV News, this is Kyle Smith reporting.
Thanks, Kyle. The event looked very special for everyone in attendance. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, Sierra Williams will be here with this week's editorial. Stay with us.
I don't remember how it started.
North of that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Hey ECSU, I'm Sierra Williams with this week's editorial. How would you feel if the government told you what to wear, how to dress, how to think, feel, eat, and sleep? You'd be pretty upset with how someone is trying to strip away your identity and make decisions for you, right? Well, recently the Trump administration announced that they are thinking of changing civil rights laws that would define sex as either male or female, unchangeable and determined by the genitals a person is born with. This strips away the identity people have worked so hard for. The LGBTQ community has been in an uproar because you're basically telling those who identify as transgender that they do not exist as a person, that they don't matter. Societal norms are challenging already because we define it as accepted behavior that an individual is expected to conform to in a particular group, community, or culture. These norms often serve as a useful purpose to create foundations of correct behavior. What the Trump administration is doing is not only putting people into a societal norm box, but they are allowing discrimination and violence to be accepted. In an article written by Evan Greer, he stated, "Federal civil rights are not silver bullets. Transgender people, particularly trans women of color, already face among the highest rates of violence and systematic discrimination of any population in the U.S. But gutting federal protections for trans people who are subjected to hate or educational discrimination will dramatically exacerbate the rampant abuse of trans people at the hands of powerful institutions and directly result in transgender lives being lost, particularly among the youth. This is not the world we want to live in. We should live in unity where everyone is accepted regardless of race, ethnicity, or sex or orientation. So this new civil rights law that President Trump plans to pass needs a pushback, not only from me, but you too. Thank you for joining me on this week's editorial. I'm Sierra Williams. Let's send it back over to Imani and Connor.
Thanks, Sierra. We'll be right back after these short messages.
I felt hopeless.
I know it was a joke, but it still hurt me.
Because of you, I felt wanted and not alone in this world.
Because you said hi to me on the first day of school, I felt included and I knew that I was going to be okay.
Authorities have intercepted multiple suspicious packages intended for former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Hillary Clinton, along with a handful of other top political figures. Authorities believe that these incidents are connected. The United States Secret Service said in a statement that the packages were immediately identified during routine mail screening procedures as potential explosive devices and were appropriately handled as such. Both packages were intercepted prior to being delivered to their intended location. The protectees did not receive the packages, nor were they at risk of receiving them. President Donald Trump on Wednesday said that violence is not the answer.
Times we have to unify. We have to come together and send one very clear, strong, unmistakable message that acts or threats of political violence of any kind have no place in the United States of America.
These events also received a strong response from the mayor of New York City, Bill de Blasio.
What we saw here today was an effort to terrorize. This clearly is an act of terror, attempting to undermine our free press and leaders of this country through acts of violence. I want to make very clear that the people of New York City will not be intimidated, that we are going to go about our lives undeterred, because the very concept of terrorism is to change us, and we will not allow that to happen. You cannot be terrorized if you refuse to allow the terrorists to win. People of this city have shown time and again that they stand up in the face of these efforts to intimidate.
The investigation into who is behind the mailing of these packages is still ongoing.
With the midterm elections just a few weeks away, many politicians are hitting the road. Former Vice President Joe Biden, Senators Bernie Sanders and Kamala Harris, along with former President Barack Obama, all are out campaigning for Democrats across the country. Obama held an event campaigning for Democrats in Nevada, where he emphasizes to the audience the importance of this year's election.
This November's elections are more important than any I can remember in my lifetime, and that includes when I was on the ballot. That's saying something. Politicians say every time, this is the most important election. This one's really that important. The stakes are high. The consequences of anybody here not turning out and doing everything you can to get your friends, neighbors, family to turn out, the consequences of you staying home would be profoundly dangerous to this country, to our democracy.
Republicans are also on the campaign trail. President Trump, along with Vice President Mike Pence, have been giving speeches all across the country in an effort to fire up their base to get out to vote. Usual political theory says that the party in the White House loses in the midterms, but Trump is hoping that doesn't happen, touting the tax cuts he passed just a few months ago.
Republicans passed the biggest tax cut and reform in history, with massive tax cuts for the middle class, and now we're adding 10% to those numbers. We're going to be putting in a 10% tax cut for middle-income families. It's going to be put in next week. 10% tax cut.
Joe Biden will be in Connecticut tomorrow, as he is hosting an event at Trinity College where he will be campaigning for Connecticut Democrats, including Ned Lamont, Jahana Hayes, and Senator Chris Murphy.
The Mega Millions jackpot hit $1.5 billion this week. The person who purchased the winning ticket sold in South Carolina has yet to come forward. The chances of having the winning ticket were 1 in 302 million. You have only a 1 in a 700,000 chance of getting struck by lightning, but if you missed out on this big payday, you still have a chance at winning big money. The Powerball jackpot is currently at $620 million. The drawing for that takes place next Wednesday.
The 2018 World Series got underway earlier this week between the Los Angeles Dodgers and my Boston Red Sox. Game 1 and 2 looked very similar as the Red Sox seemed to be always one step ahead of the Dodgers, winning both games 8-4 and 4-2. The next game in this best-of-7 series takes place tomorrow at Dodger Stadium, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
We're going to take another quick break, but we'll be back with Jack Petrucci and his sports update.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
My heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
Hello, Eastern. Tracy with this week's sports update. The volleyball team was matched up against an out-of-conference opponent in Albertus Magnus on Tuesday night. Anna Berry, who's had an unbelievable start to her freshman season, 4 straight Little East Conference Rookie of the Week accolades, and she has their Warriors out to an 18-6 start, while the Falcons are looking to get a win at the Francis E. Geisler Gymnasium. But early, Alatra Long with a good spike over on the left side. The first points of the game. She had 7 kills in this matchup, and here's Long again with the serve, and too much for Albertus Magnus to handle. That would give Eastern Connecticut the first set, and now into the third set. Eastern Connecticut already up 2-0. This time it's Meg Verizzi setting up Carly Balskis. She led the team with kills with 11, and now match point Balskis just too much to handle as Eastern Connecticut sweeps Albertus Magnus at home, and they have a big game coming up on Saturday. Touching on that game on Saturday, if the women's volleyball team wins, they would clinch the #1 overall seed in the Little East Conference tournament for the first time since 2006. They will be squaring off against in-state opponent Southern Maine this Saturday at 12 o'clock at the Francis C. Geisler Gymnasium. The field hockey team was matched up with their arch rivals on Saturday afternoon, the Keene State Owls. But more importantly, it was Senior Day, where they celebrated the 4-year career of their student athletes. Parker, Allie Caruso, Stephanie Hogan, and Erin Sheehan for all their hard work and success they have brought to this program. The men's soccer team has a big weekend coming up as well. Eastern will be hosting Rhode Island College on Friday night at 7 o'clock. And as the standings are sitting right now, Keene State and Eastern Connecticut are tied for first in the Little East Conference at 6-1. If the Warriors could snag a win on Saturday and have UMass Boston beat Keene State in a game that is hosted on Saturday, they would get the #1 seed, which means they would host both Little East Conference semifinals. As for the women's soccer team, they are also fighting for a potential #1 spot in the Little East Conference tournament. But just like the men's team, they're going to need a little help. The Warriors are currently tied with Western Connecticut at 5-2 at the top of the conference. If Eastern is victorious on Friday night against Rhode Island College, and Plymouth State beats Western on Saturday, then the Warriors will get a #1 seed in the Little East Conference Tournament. This weekend is huge for Eastern Connecticut athletics, so make sure you go out and show your support. And if you can't go see the games yourself, you can find every contest live at littleeast.tv on your laptop or computer. Before you let you go, Alex Gabriel is back with another edition of Inside Eastern Athletics. Let's take a sneak peek.
Take me back to Geithner as a player. Hamilton College, 1987.
Oh boy.
What does a game of one-on-one look between you and me?
Oh boy, that's a good question. Yeah, I think that there's some similarities there. I mean, I think we were, both tough-minded. Defense. I couldn't score, so one-on-one I never really enjoyed. I needed guys I could pass to. So I'm not sure. I'd have to give you a step a little bit, a little quicker, especially if you were to play right now. I think it would be a good battle. We'd have fun.
Yeah, we would.
And that will do it for this week in sports. As always, I'm Jack Petrucci. We'll see you next week, Eastern.
Thanks, Jack. Before we go tonight, we would like to take a moment to thank one of our most valuable members of the ETV crew, our technical advisor, Paul Melmer, who is retiring after over 18 years here at Eastern. Thank you, Paul, for all that you do. We really appreciate it.
And that's it for this week's show. Thank you so much for joining us.
To keep up to date with all things ETV News, be sure to follow us on Instagram at ETVNews_ and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
And if you have any ideas for things you'd like to see on the show, email us at etv@my.easternct.edu. I'm Imani Futrell.
And I'm Connor O'Malley. We'll see you next week, Eastern.